Today we're going to do some yin at the wall, and so you'll need to set up your mats by the wall. I set up my mats, you'll see over here, I set them up, but it's just one end against the wall. I did the two mats because I'm just going to use it to demonstrate some of the poses. And hi, and so you'll need 2 blocks or some books just to give yourself a little prop up in one of the poses. And you'll need a belt if you have one. It's not, you don't really need one, but I really would get a blanket or a towel just to cushion your knee in one of the poses, okay? And if you're really sensitive, or if you have a really high arch in the top of your foot, then you'll need to have a little bit of something there as well. I'm like looking at you guys side by side. And then hi Julia. And then I missed the studio too. That's why I'm here. And then so come on to your backs. We're gonna start on our backs and laying in Supta Baddha Konasana. So for Supta Baddha Konasana, lay on your back. I can choose between 2 mats here. And then walk your feet as close towards your hips as you can. Bring the bottom of your feet together. Just let your knees open up. If you find that your low back feels like it's kind of getting compressed, then you're going to lift your hips up, lengthen your tailbone towards your feet so you get more of the center of your sacrum down. And then just let your arms relax beside you, whatever feels comfortable. And if you're finding that you have a really big stretch on your inner thighs here, then take your blocks or your books, even if you have some towels, or grab from your sofa a couple of the pillows and you put them underneath your thighs. And then we're going to take a couple moments here just to get centered. If you just joined us, welcome. And then you guys are saying hi to each other. I love it. So, hi Matt. So if you guys just joined, put your mat near the wall, and because we're going to do some yin against the wall tonight. So for those of you guys who are in Supta Baddha Konasana, so reclining butterfly, you can bring your arms to the side in a T. If it feels like you have the space tonight, you can bring your arms overhead like a Y, YMCA, like a Y there. And if you like, you can even grab for your opposite elbow. And then the tendency is when we bring our arms higher overhead, our breath goes higher. So breathe nice and low, right into your hips. And then if you did grab overhead, just switch arms. So the opposite arm is on top. Just taking the last 2 breaths. Release your arms. If your arms are up, bring your arms down. Bring your hands to the outside of your legs. Use your hands to draw your knees together. And then just pause here with your legs bent, feet on the ground. Take 2 breaths. So you feel that one pose you just did, letting it leave your body. The body comes back to neutral. And then roll to your side. Use your hand to press yourself up. And then grab, you can use, for those of you who, we do this in our wall yoga class, or with the props and all this stuff here. You can do it with the belt, but you don't really need the belt. We're going to do wall push or half down dog. So start here, just standing against the wall, and bring your hands in line with your shoulders. And then you're going to take a step back about 4 feet till your feet are underneath your hips. And then your feet are going to be about hip width apart. And then press your arms, your hands into the wall. Press your bum away from the wall so you're feeling long. Try and get your arms as long as you can. And then notice if you're a rib popper, notice if your ribs are popping out. On your exhale, draw your low ribs down so you feel a little more contained and more stretch through your outer arm. One more breath. And bend your knees and walk your feet forward. Come to standing so you're facing the wall. And then you're going to bring your elbows on the wall so that you're looking more like this. I have two cameras, that's so weird. So you're going to bring your elbows on the wall. And the tendency here is that our elbows will tend to go out wide. Try and bring your elbows together. So if you wrap your hands around your arms, your fingers wrap around the outer arm right to the bone. Keep your elbows right there on the wall, and then bring your hands up the wall. Okay? And then wave to me. And then keeping your elbows, your forearms in the wall. Walk your legs back, walk your feet back, so that you get that L right in your hips. And right away you'll notice once you start to feel that nice stretch in the outer armpit and the shoulder, the elbows tend to go wide. So try and keep your elbows together, and this is where you could put the strap if you want around your arms. But if you feel the stretch, you're probably good. Now, keeping, so this is just to demonstrate if you want, having the strap around your elbows, pretty close together. And now, keeping your elbows pressing against the wall, you're going to do a little cat and cow, okay? So start with just your upper body. So on your inhale, you're going to let your chest dip down. And on your exhale, round your back towards the ceiling. Inhale, let your belly drop, chest drop. And then exhale, round your upper back to the ceiling. As you round up, keep your elbows pressing right into the wall. So every inhale, let your chest drop. And on whenever you're exhaling, round like angry cat. And you feel it loosening up a bit after a couple rounds. And now on your next inhale, come to neutral spine. So neutral spine, think about your sit bones reaching behind you and the top of your head reaching forward to the wall. And now press your elbows into the wall. If you have a strap, keep the strap on. But keeping your elbows in the wall, sorry, I'm making my butt shot here, but is that keep your elbows in the wall, but try and walk your hands and your wrists wider apart. So the elbows are together, or as close as they'll come together, but your hands are wider apart. It gets pretty juicy in there when you do that. Just breathe. Right, breathe right into those, right into the shoulders. Now, just before we come up, notice if one elbow is lighter than the other one. If you have a lighter elbow, just think about right from the back of your shoulder, lengthen your elbow into the wall. So it feels like equal pressure between both arms. Take one full breath. To come up, bend your knees, walk your feet forward to the wall, come up to standing, and then just relax your arms beside you. A couple shoulder circles here, and 2 breaths. We'll transition to release some of the stress or the tension that kind of sets in the front of our shoulder here. Bring your right hand onto the wall. Face towards the wall. Bring your right hand on the wall. Your hand in line with your shoulder. And then start pivoting from your right hip. Pivot your right hip away from your hand. And you're not glued against the wall here. You have some space between your hip and the wall. Okay. So that if you're too close, your shoulder tends to go really high. So just making sure that there's some space between your hip and the wall. Turning your right hip forward and roll your right shoulder down your back. And again, if you tend to pop your lower ribs out, on your exhale, whoopsies. There we go. Okay, we're back. Draw your low ribs down. Okay. So again, this is just transition. Take one more breath here. And on your inhale, face the wall. Now, your right hand, bring it up slightly. Okay. So now your arm is kind of like feeling like a 45-degree angle. And now once you place your right hand there, walk your fingers away from you. Roll your right shoulder down, and then from your right hip, spin away from your hand. So your hip leads the way into the turn. And usually you'll feel more stretch into your chest, your pec. And when you feel that, you're good. And then try and just crawl your right hand, your right fingers away from you a little bit more. And then once you start to feel it in your pec, there's a little, it's a little movement here. It's really subtle, but as you, think about opening up a can, like a jar. So it's like your wrist, your right wrist, the inner wrist, like thumb side, starts to move up higher. And it just helps a little more external. You'll feel a little bit more into the chest area, which is so just one more breath here. And then on your inhale, turn back towards the wall. Relax your right arm down. And then with both of your arms beside you, just stand tall, close your eyes, take a full breath. Just notice the feeling and the difference between your two shoulders. Notice the breath, how it kind of reaches a little bit more into one shoulder. Let's equal it out. Let's do the other arm. Bring your left arm out beside you so you make that L with the arm. Again, having some space. Make sure to have that space between your hip and the wall. We won't measure it tonight. You can just feel it out, okay? Oh, keeping that space there. Roll your left shoulder down your back, and then turn your left hip away from your hand. And if you turn a lot, so if you twist a lot, what can happen is that your shoulder goes up and it rolls forward, and then you get away, like this doesn't open at all, like the front of the chest and the front of the shoulder. So keep rolling your left shoulder down your back so you get it like right through you'll feel it maybe through the bicep. We don't want to hold it too long, and just transition here. So take 2 more breaths. On your inhale, turn to face the wall. And now bring your left arm up. So you make that kind of Y shape, 45-degree angle shape. Walk your fingers away from you. And then roll your left shoulder down your back. And then from your left hip, start to turn away from your hand. And then once you feel it more into the pec, you're good. And that's like the front of the chest, the front of the shoulder, maybe bicep. And after a couple breaths, maybe tonight, it starts to loosen up a bit, and then do that little subtle action. So if your arm is out, the subtle action is trying to think about turning, I don't know, that would be closing a jar, opening a jar, geez, I don't know. Turn this, and so your inner left wrist goes up. And then you'll feel the connection more go right towards the sternum. Just have 2 more breaths on this side. On your inhale, turn to face the wall, and then arms beside you, and close your eyes. Feel the rebound. Notice the effect on your body. Notice the difference in your breath. Maybe more freedom in your breath. onto your back and grab your towel or strap, and we're going to bring it around our foot. Amazing. Look at my favorite pose. So, on your side, and then on your back. Now your legs are going to be straight, and your feet right against the wall. And you might need to scooch around a bit. And then once you have that, try and keep your left leg, so right from, think about from your left hip. Press through your left foot. See how your leg feels a little bit longer and quite like rooted into the wall. Try and keep that. It's a little bit of a challenge. Bring your right leg in. Oh, notice how the foot comes away a little bit. Don't do that. Keep the left leg right from the hip, pressing through your foot, and then take your strap right around your heel. And then from here, extend your right leg away. Now, your leg might be, I don't know, some people are, you can get your foot quite close to your head, and that is as close as she's going to come tonight. And whenever you feel the stretch in the back of your leg, you're good. Okay? And now on your exhale, so you want to hold, now I like to wrap my belt around my hands so that I don't have to hold so hard. And you want to try and get it so your shoulders can be relaxed. Okay? Your neck can be relaxed. And your jaw relaxed. And on your exhale now, curl your toes down. And on your inhale, point your toes up. Pardon me. On your exhale, curl your toes down. And on your inhale, point your toes up. Your exhale, whenever your exhale is, you're going to have a different cadence than us, than me. Your exhale, you curl down and flex down. Your inhale, point up, plantar flexion. When you're flexing your foot, try and spread out your toes. And then whenever you flex the next time, hold the flexion. Just hold your flexion and think about, not really intense or anything, but try and just think about as your toes curl down, extend your heel up. And then keep extending your heel up. And then just a little bit, like mostly with just the weight of your arms. Think about your arms really heavy down. So it's a little gentle pull from your heel. Your heel pulls down to your right hip. Your right hip just anchors down. One more breath. And then take your strap in your left hand. Taking your strap in your left hand, bring your right hand to your right hip crease. And press your right hand to your hip crease and press your right hip forward and down. And now bring your right leg to the left and like an inch, like not so much. Okay, so just bring your right leg over. I'll show you on this side. Till you feel a stretch on your outer right hip. So it'll be like IT band, all that area. And if you don't feel it, use your hand, really press your right hip forward and down so that your right hip is as heavy as your left hip. Because it's not meant to be a twist, like a twist in the spine or anything. It's really a stretch in the outer right leg. How's everyone doing? Everyone okay? moving into, it's a drier tissue, so we want to go really gentle. So not really pulling hard at all, just really like allowing the tissue of your outer right leg to unwind. And then keeping the feedback of the wall. So your left leg pressing left foot into the wall. Take one full breath. And now use your strap and inhale your leg back to center. And then release your right leg into the wall. And what's really fun is that it always feels like my right leg is like really long. You've been just noticing that feeling. And then take your strap now from your right hip, press out through your right foot. Try and keep your right foot in the wall. Take your strap around your left leg, left heel, and then extend your left heel up towards the ceiling. And now your left leg, I didn't see this on the other side, but if your leg is bent, that's okay. You feel a stretch in the back of your leg, in your hamstring, maybe more in your calf, but you feel that, jackpot. That's where you want to feel it, back of the leg. If you're able to, then you start to straighten the leg. But there's no straight leg award. It's just a hamstring stretch. And then on your exhale, whenever that is, whenever you have your next exhale, flex your toes down. And on your inhale, point your toes up. So your exhale, you flex down and try and spread out your toes. And your inhale, you point your toes up. So when you're flexing your toes back, when you're flexing your toes back, it's so weird, okay, when you're flexing your toes back, try and spread out your toes. Do you see that? It's like, and even those middle toes, they're the tricky ones, okay? Doing that just about a dozen times, so take 2 more times, 2 more flexion. And on your next exhale, flex your toes down. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Try to keep your whole right leg, like so right from your hip, press out through your foot. Strap in the right hand, left hip. Use your left hand, press your left hip forward to the wall and down on the mat. Keeping your left hip heavy, start to bring your leg over to the right. And it's not much, it's like 12 o'clock to, it's not even 1 o'clock. It's like 1 minute past 12. And whenever you feel it, you might feel it more in the peroneals, like in the outer calf. You might feel it there. You might feel it more into the IT. you don't feel it at all, you've been drinking, and and then you can, if you want, though, if you don't feel it though, you bring your foot closer to your head. Oh, we didn't do that. We were thinking for April Fools, we would all record ourselves doing a yin class, drinking some gin, and saying it's a new class on the schedule called Yin and Gin. Thought that was kind of fun. I'm noticing here how this tissue responds in the outer leg. It's less muscle, it's more the connective tissue. And it just takes patience, time. Noticing how the stretch moves around. And then as we get to the end of the pose, instead of thinking of going further, try and think to soften more. Just to allow any tension, any residual tension, just letting it unwind. One more breath. Your right leg firm, right leg, that's the one on the wall. Use your strap on your inhale, bring your leg back up, and then bend your knee, and release your foot into the wall. And with your feet on the wall, enjoying that, like that feeling of groundedness, take 2 breaths. Eyes closed, relax your shoulders. And then bring your knees in towards your chest and roll over onto your side. You have not been drinking. and then we're going to come up and do. So this is for those of you who come to the Wall Yoga Props. It's Uttanasana. And we're just going to hold it a little bit today. I thought it would be a great pose to do because we've all probably been walking a lot or starting to jog or run. And if this is the best quad stretch. So, set up your blanket and nice and cushy, okay? So fold it up, get some good cushion there for your knee, and have your blocks nearby. Okay. And then you're gonna set up with your feet against the wall. Bring the blocks ahead of you, just because we'll need them. And I'm gonna start by bringing your right leg up the wall. Try and place, so when you place your knee down, place your outer knee first so that you feel like you're right on the center of your kneecap, okay? And your knee wants to be kind of as close to the wall as you can. Now, for those, if your ankle is away from the wall, if you have another little blanket beside you, or my kids have those, you know, the little stuffed bears? They're perfect for filling in the space between your ankle and the wall. And then from here, you can stay here. If you want, you can start to bring yourself higher on your blocks. So as you bring yourself higher higher. Don't just bring your shoulders. Start from your pelvis. So on your inhale, think about tilting the front of your hips up and roll the back of your hips down. And then, oh yeah, mama. Yeah, usually it'll be like oh yeah. You'll feel it right quad, front of the leg. So lots of options. You feel it in the front of your hip, not your hip, oh, it might be your hip, but the front of your quad, the front of your leg. Great. Stay right here, let it unwind. If you're like, nah, I don't feel much, then you're going to bring your left foot forward. So you set up like a lunge, so your left knee's at 90 degrees, and then if you want, you can come up. But again, when we come up, the tendency is we just start to come into this back bend. You see that? Instead, roll the back, roll the back of your hips down, lift the front of your hips up. And if that happens to not be enough for you, then you can start to reach your arms up the wall and crawl your arms up. Those are all options. If this becomes too much, you back off a little bit. You want to feel the muscle. If you push, if you force, your body forces back. So let it feel inviting. Let it feel and just wait for the space to come and then move. And if it doesn't feel like there's a lot of space, breathe. After a couple deep breaths, where it feels like there was just congestion, usually there's space. Two more breaths. Bring your hands down. If your left foot is forward, step your left foot back, bring your knee down. To come out of this pose, please don't drag your knee, okay? What you're going to do is just lift your right knee up and then bring it forward. And then we'll go on to the other side. So moving on to the other side, bring your left knee up against the wall. All right. And then make sure here, this placement of your knee is pretty important. So again, once you've placed your knee, make sure to try and place your outer left knee down. Trying to think about pressing, like your outer left knee down comes first. So right now, you feel that it's the center of your kneecap on the blanket. And then, again, keeping your left knee on the ground. Just, if you want, you can bring your blocks up a little higher. And then start to tilt. Tilt your pelvis. So your inhale, you tip the front of your hips up. And your exhale, the back of your hips bum down. And this is great. You can stay right here. You feel really good stretch. Front of your leg, your quad, jackpot. If you'd like, you can bring your right foot forward so you're in that lunge shape. And then come on up. Again, up if you want. If you go up and you start swearing, well, breathe. And then if you start swearing in other languages, come down. But, you know, you have to find that that balance between ease and effort. And then if you're up, if you like, you can reach your arms up. As you reach your arms up, it's not to bring your head to the wall, your shoulders to the wall. It's so that you get more extension through the front of your body. And you keep rolling the back of your hips down. Notice if there's tension in other parts of your body, like your jaw maybe, relax your jaw. Notice if your tummy gets tight, your belly be soft. And the work is right in your hips. So think about your inhale, turning the front of your hips up. And your exhale, rolling the back of your hips down. And I like the image of, like, on the exhale, a boulder rolling down my low back. We're not going to hold too long. Especially if we're not used to the pose, it can be fatiguing. So let's just do 2 more breaths. And then bring your hands down onto your blocks. And then placing your blocks so you're stable. First, your right foot, okay? Bring your right foot back so your knee is down. And then don't just drag your knee, okay, please? So pick up your left knee, whoop, up, and then bring it forward. Just so you're not twisting it all in the kneecap. And then you can get on up. And then I would actually get up. Feet hip width apart, stand nice and tall, and then from your hips, press down through your legs, and take a breath. Now, go for a little walk, like just walk around, like, hi, I'm gonna walk out, walk in, okay, like go for a little walk, and then come on back to your mat. You just walked it out a little bit. Feet hip width apart. Close your eyes. Ground your legs down. And breathe. It's always interesting to see the effects of our pose in our body, but also how our breath is affected deeply by what we do. Now come on. The next one we're going to do is QL. So on your mat right now, and if you like, you can sit on some blocks. We're going to sit, I like to sit on a block for this. So one block, and you sit your bum on the block. And then have your feet, now it's really up to you here. You can have Baddha Konasana, so your feet are together. Or if you want, you can go into butterfly pose, or into easy pose. So just like, it's an easy cross-leg pose. If you're doing a cross-leg version though, so the Baddha Konasana isn't meant as a big stretch on the inner thighs, okay? It's just so you can sit easy and comfortably so that your hips are really heavy. You want to feel your hips nice and grounded. If your knees are higher than your hips, there's going to be a little bit of pinching happening in your hip socket. Please sit on a higher support, okay? And then, now if you're cross-legged, have it so that we'll do it with our right leg closer towards our hips, so that your left leg is in front, okay? And then your right hip, nice and heavy, down. You can even use your right hand, press your right hip down. Bring your left arm beside you, walking your left arm to the left, so you start to side bend through your right side. The tendency is we're going to roll away from the wall. Keep your bum, like the back of your hips, and your shoulders right on the wall. And now reach your right arm up and over. So you get this like, oh, it's so good. All the right side and your right waist. And now your arm can be long. I know depending on where I'm practicing, sometimes like if I practice, I'll do this at night a lot of times. And I can rest my hand goes right on my bedside table. And then you can even have, if you want, you can rest your arm over your head. Making sure, just so you don't get any pinching in your shoulder too. Okay, just make sure that's not happening. Bring your arm in or back as you need. Give you Alex. Right hip nice and heavy. And now your breath, okay? Breathe into your right side. And your inhale, think about your inhale ballooning your right ribs out. Now your inhale, balloon your right ribs out. And your exhale, think about like an elephant or a sandbag on your right hip, weighing your right hip down and your right thigh away from you. So your right thigh is moving away from you. Take 2 more breaths. Whenever you're done, first bring your right arm up and over your head. Bring your right arm down beside you. Press your left hand down and start to use your left hand to walk yourself back up nice and slow, okay? And then pause. Hands on your thighs. Sit nice and tall right into the wall for the support. Breathe. Echo in our body after the pose. Allowing the echo to silence. Your body come back to neutral. So because you're practicing at home right now, you can take a little bit longer. If you're like, dude, I'm neutral, I'm good. So then you bring if you have your legs crossed, cross the other leg. So bring your left leg in, your right foot in front, okay, right leg in front. If you're in Baddha Konasana, if you need to get out of Baddha Konasana, you can. And if it's too much, you can also bring your feet more forward as well. Or if you'd like, you can go into Upavista Konasana. Okay, that could be an option. Just make sure that your back stays against the wall, okay? And then from here, bring your right arm on the mat. Yes, on the ground here. Walk your right arm over to the right. Keep your shoulders and the back of your hips against the wall. So again, not rolling away from the wall at all. Keeping a little bit like you're stuck there. And then, whenever you're ready, again, you feel a stretch. Ribs, especially, it's the QL. It's like the whole waist and into the back area. Like that's where we want to go to. So if you feel it here, great. If it feels subtle, no problem. Doesn't have to be like a 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 or anything. Feels like out of a 5 out of 10 and under is perfect. So if you want though, you can bring your left arm over your head. And then just reaching your arm away. If you want, you can bring your arm over your head. Whenever I teach, I always look for the head to come forward. You can even try that now if you want. If you bring your head forward, you'll feel like, you kind of lose a little bit. So you bring your head, the back of your head to the wall. But the most effective way to allow this area to release is into your ribs. QL, you breathe. Because all the muscles and tissue, it's all interdigitated in there. So through your breath, inhale, you balloon it up and out. And then on your exhale, let it uncoil, the tension uncoil. During times of stress, our breath tends to become limited and shallow. So, here we're just really allowing our bodies to gently nudge into a deeper breath. Balloon inhales. Exhale, just let it relax. Last breath. First, it's your left arm, okay? Bring your left arm up and around. Bring your left arm beside you, okay? Then, right fingers press down. Walk yourself back up. Hands on thighs. Keep your back against the wall, your head against the wall. Breathe. Breathe like big Buddha bellies. Soft, soft belly. On this last breath, your exhale, let your shoulders relax wide and down. Shoulders wide and down, and inhale, your neck nice and long. Bring your knees together, roll onto your side, and then you're going to lay on your back, okay? So laying on your back, Upadistakanasana. So So lay on your back. Now depending on your hamstrings, if your hamstrings feel tight today, I was doing gardening today, so my hamstrings, I'm going to sit a little bit further away from the wall. Your hamstrings feel like, dude, I'm fine, then you're going to bring your bum close to the wall, okay? So hamstrings feel open, bum close to the wall, hamstrings feeling tight, bring your bum down, away from the wall. So roll to your side, bring your legs up the wall. There we go. I'm just going to scooch a little bit closer to the wall here. And then, Upavista Konasana, you're just going to open up your legs. Make sure you have an even surface there. And then open up your legs. And you just open up your legs until you start. So if here you feel a stretch on your inner thighs, you're good. Okay? If you feel, if it's available, then you bring your legs a little bit wider apart. There is no award, and you're not going to be any more enlightened or a better person at the end of the day if your feet touch the ground. Like, it so doesn't matter. Just whenever you feel like some good juicy stretch in your thighs, you might feel a little bit more in the back of your legs. Whenever you feel like you're good. And now, keeping your legs, your knees might be bent a little bit, okay? And then, thanks Lana, post-dinner and yoga, yay! Is that if your legs are your knees are a little bent, no problem. But if you can, try and press your heels away from you, okay? So as you press your heels away from you, the big toe, the mound of your big toe, try and press that away from you even more. And then when you press the mound of your big toe away from you, you'll get a little bit more length happening on your inner thighs. Now notice here if you have any tension in your belly, relax your belly. Oh, I've caught off my leg, oops. Take 2 breaths right into your belly, nice and low, okay? Bring your hands to your outer legs, okay? And then use your hands to bring your legs back together, legs up the wall. Bring your big toes together and your heels a little wider apart. So it relaxes more of your outer thigh. And then pause. Viparikkarani. Now here, for Viparikkarani, you can definitely just stay right there. You're happy, you stay there. If you like, then you just bring your belt, if you like, around your legs. You bring your belt around your legs. Do up your belt so that your legs can relax out into the belt. And this is here where we'll take rest, finish our session today, finish our practice. Let your legs relax into the wall. Your legs relax. If you have the belt, then relax out into the belt. And then take as much time here as you need. And I wish you many and much blessings. I miss you all.